This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 547 for April 16th, 2018. Paul Friars.
Cousin by mother's sister.
Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Moonpier.
Hello.
I think this is the last week to go before we do our recap for the Swapper.
Yeah.
The Swappa. So, still plenty of time to finish that like I need to.
Well, right there with you.
It's just, there's too much stuff that I'm way too deep into right now for me to...
Yep.
Finish the Swapper.
Too many working days of the week for me already.
Yeah.
It's not even summer and the 6-day working weeks have started already.
Yeah. Jesus. Alright, let's just dive right into it. Moonpier, what have you been playing?
I continued playing some Far Cry 5. Apparently, according to my wife, love you darling, I confused her a lot last week because I don't know any of the bad guys' names in that. I keep saying the wrong name for the wrong person.
So clearly a memorable cast of characters.
That's the thing they are. I'm just really bad with names.
Yeah.
It's Jacob, John, and Joseph are the three brothers.
3 J's, gotcha.
Yep. Faith is the easy one because she's the only girl.
Right.
Problem is, I think Joseph is the leader. I think the guy I actually completed one of the areas, which is the... hashtag bad guy Daniel Bryan.
Oh, right.
I took his area over, and I think that was Jacob. I think.
We'll just forever call him Daniel Bryan.
Yes. Specifically, yes. The power of yes.
Yeah.
But I took him out. I completed his area. It was interesting. I'm not going to say it was... Well, let's do a callback to a title here. Consider me whelmed, because
right.
It was okay. It was nothing special. Like, it wasn't built. It was a decent build-up with a very disappointing execution. Like the quote-unquote boss fight for that area was okay. It wasn't anything special. I'm now on the other J, the second J. I'm doing his area. He's the one who culls the head, as he says. So he's the guy who's all about mind control and all kinds of other stuff. And you remember how I said, like, it does a really interesting thing to keep you, like, in tune with the character, the bad guy villains, like it. So they, like, John, Jacob, whichever one it was, he kidnapped me and then took me and like preached about the power of yes to me. It turns out that happens in the other zone as well. So my guess is it probably happens 3 times in every single zone.
Oh boy.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I'm going to feel when I get to the 6th time it's happened.
Right.
Whether or not it's going to be a little bit of, this again.
Oh no, they're here to kidnap me. What could be happening?
So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I think the biggest issue I have with Far Cry 5 right now is I don't think I'm in the headspace for a Far Cry game right now. Like,
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's Far Cry. It's exactly what you think it is. It's you sneak into outposts, you kill people, you take over the outpost, you do the gathering, the hunting, everything like that. They've done a little bit of good changes in regards to, like, the development of your character and the skill points and stuff like that, but at the same time it feels a little rote, because you used to get a bunch of experience points that would give you skill points which would unlock stuff. Now you only get the skill points by doing specific challenges. So
okay,
like, for me, it's just become a case of, here's a checklist, I'm just going to go down this checklist and do everything on this checklist to get as many skill points as I can.
Yeah.
And the problem...
Instead of, like, before where you just be doing stuff and you're, like, killing cougars so you can skin them to make, pouches, and you're getting pouch upgrades and you're getting experience at the same time.
Yeah. Well, there's literally no point to the hunting in this, except for you get a little bit of money for selling the skins, and there are challenges associated with it, which get you perk points.
Okay.
But it feels... It's okay. Like, it's a good game. The game looks gorgeous. I'm still liking the setting. I don't think they're going to make any form of statement by the end of this game.
Right.
Based on the original reveal trailer and then their immediate back off away from that when things started to get really hairy around America. And all of a sudden they're like, oh no, we're not trying to make a statement with this. This is just a game. It's an experience.
Right. We're just exploring what faith means. It's like,
Exactly. But at the same time, they're not. Because they're not trying to make it, at least from what I've played so far, I haven't experienced any... They're not trying to make a statement. They haven't said, you are the good guy or you are the bad guy. They haven't said, these people are good or these people are bad. It's just been a case of you're seeing two sides of the story, and I'm fine with that. If they want to play devil's advocate and just throw it right down the middle and be like, make your own mind up, it's fine, but it also feels like a bit of a wuss out where they could have made a statement. They could have been saying something. You look at something like Journey, which is just about running across a planet, and it says stuff about the intrinsic nature of relationships you develop with random strangers who you cannot talk to.
Right.
That game makes a huge statement without effortlessly trying to do so.
Yeah.
This feels like it's a case of, if we don't back down from this, if we try and put a stance one way or the other, there'll be backlash. So we're just going to leave it up to the people kind of thing.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't help in my case that there are some people on the good guy side who could not have further opinions from my personal opinions.
Oh, so they're like preaching at you a little bit, or like, how do you feel, brother? And you're like, bad news.
Yeah, a little bit. And let's just say it's set in Montana, so in the middle of the countryside like that, you're gonna get some people you are not gonna agree with, especially if you politically or sociologically lean the way I lean. There is gonna be people in the game you're gonna disagree with, and there is that case on both sides of the fence for me. Like, I can see the point of some of the bad guys, I can see the point of some of the good guys. I also despise some of the bad guys and despise some of the good guys.
Right.
So it's just become a case of that it feels just whelmed. It's there, it exists. Right now, for me, it's just a gameplay loop at this point. It's get to the next thing, do the next check mark, change weapon so I'm getting the perk points for that kind of thing.
And that's such a bummer, too, after Assassin's Creed Origins, where it's like, all right, I kind of want to do all this stuff, and I'm getting XP and I'm getting loot, and I have some stuff to do here, and to turn a Far Cry game into, an Excel document sort of stinks.
Yeah, I mean, it could, like I said, other people might take it differently. Other people might be all gung-ho, and other people might enjoy other aspects of it. But so far, for me, it's the biggest positive about this game is it's another Far Cry game. The biggest negative about this game, bless you,
thank you,
is it's another Far Cry game, because I don't know if I'm in the headspace for that right now. And the content being what it is, I definitely don't know if I'm in the headspace for it right now.
Yeah.
So I'll probably put like an hour or two into it a week maybe from this point on, but we'll see how things go. I did play co-op with my wife in Far Cry 5. For someone who hates stealth, she loves stealth in Far Cry, which makes a good change, like, from when we've played.
It's so weird.
We've played
a
game
where you don't need to do it.
Yeah, we've played other games together, and it's been like, oh, so we're gonna go stealthy, and then I hear a rocket come whooshing past my ear.
She kicks down a door.
Yes, exactly.
Eat this. Foof.
Yep, pretty much. But it's interesting. It's fun to play. Like, I think Gersman over at Giant Bomb, he said he enjoyed Far Cry the most when he was literally using it as a chat lobby and shooting things.
Sure.
So that might end up being my approach, but we'll see. But yeah, Far Cry 5. Interesting so far. We'll see.
It's okay.
Yes. Like I said, the two moments I spoke about last week, the Barracuda moment is amazing.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other song.
Sexual Healing, I think it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those two moments are really, really good. But there hasn't been another one like that, and that's like probably another 20 hours since those two moments. So.
Well, and it sort of says something. I feel like it says something about the game, having not played it, that your two most memorable moments for that game are two good songs that they licensed.
Two good songs used particularly well, I should say.
Yeah.
It's the Aerosmith Saints Row 4 intro. It's that kind of use. So, I mean, like I said, it works out really well. Like, those two songs, I think, are particularly good choices. We'll see how things go from this point onwards.
Yeah.
I played two NeoGeo games. One of them was Pulstar. That game is hard. Like, really, really difficult. Like, it's a R-type side-scrolling spacey shoot-'em-up game.
Oh, okay.
And it's like the graphics are all computer-generated. It feels like a CGI game. Like, the thing looks so far beyond its time. It's unbelievable. But I think because of that, there's a lot of slowdown. There's a lot of issues for me trying to control it, and that game is super difficult.
Oh yeah, I'm watching a video on this. I don't think I've played this before, but I do remember it looking incredible back in the day. And people saying like, yeah, but it sort of doesn't run at all.
Because of the nature of the graphics in it, like I said, it looks incredible, but the speed of the game is so slow. Like, I just don't feel like I can maneuver that well, because by the time I've moved out the way, in other games that have the similar mechanic, you move and you're on the other side of the screen in a heartbeat. Whereas in this, it feels like, oh, I'm moving. Wait, this is like trying to reverse like an 18-wheeler.
Right. Just gonna inch my way over this way.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, it's a fun game. Next time you hear from me about it will probably be when I have the full 1000 in it.
Right.
The other NeoGeo game I played was Universal Warriors, which this game kind of blows my mind because it's Marvel. Well, it has the speed and the same kind of thing as Marvel vs. Capcom, where you have like the double jump so you can jump really high in the air. The pace of the thing is unreal. And weirdly enough, it looks like a hybrid between the CGI characters from Pulstar, like that kind of graphics engine, mixed with actual, like, the old school Mortal Kombat hand animated, like, people.
Right.
It's really cool. Like, it looks incredible to play. It's so difficult again, but I'm not a great fighting person.
I'm watching a video on this, and man, does this thing move? Like,
it's
it is
so quick,
smooth. Like,
it's really, really silky smooth, and the thing just moves so fast.
Yeah,
it's kind of difficult for me to play those type of games. That's why I bounced off MVC 2. No, not 2. MVC 3 I bounced off of, because I'm not good at fighting games at the best of times. You put me in something that runs that quickly, and I'm just like, I'm out.
Yeah. Can't do this, no thanks.
But no, that game was actually kind of fun, and the really amazing thing about it is the character variety on the thing, because on one side it's got the hero with the like rocket elbows and stuff like this, and then it's got a stupid giant trash can looking guy who's a big robot, and then it's got this stupid squirrel girl from Marvel vs. Capcom, like that. I don't know her name, but you know who I'm talking about, the one who looks a little bit like a fairy but's got like the big huge fists and the big huge cat feet.
Right.
Like, basically that character is in this game and does the whole jump in the air, downward spiral, like spin kind of thing. And because of the speed it moves, it's very difficult for me to play.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. Feel free to go and buy it if you are interested in knowing your history about the NeoGeo series.
Yeah.
And if you're interested in a fighting game and you don't want one that moves the speed of lightning, avoid.
Yeah.
Game is quick. Final 2 games for me this week. I'm trying to figure out which one to start with. I hope I got the title of this game correct. I apologize if I didn't. It's The Last Station, which, if you can do me a favor really quick and Google The Last Station game.
Last Station.
It should be a black image with like a silhouette of a train in the back and a dude holding a gun in the forefront.
Oop, that's a movie. We'll go with that until I can locate it.
Yeah, I hope that's right. Do you remember how
The Final Station.
There we go. Thank you. I knew it was something along those lines. I was close enough. So, do you remember how games used to be easily describable?
Yes. How? It's a platformer. All right, we're good.
It's a shooter. It's an RPG.
It's a Doom clone.
Yes. Let's see if I can get everything that this game does all at once.
Okay.
It's a side-scrolling 2D map exploration thing based on kind of like a Metroid style, but you also have a gun and melee combat, so it's got a little bit of horror thrown in as well. And then on the loading between the levels, it's actually got a little mini base management sim put into it as well.
What type of games did you want to make?
Everything.
I wanted to put everything in there.
Yeah. I want to make the jambalaya of video games.
Yeah.
It's... The worst thing is it's really, really cool. Like...
Yeah?
It's the way you're introduced to it is kind of interesting. So, the setup of the game is there was a visitation, and it's called The Visitation, the first visit.
Ooh, spooky.
Something happened. They don't clarify exactly what, but people basically, pods fall from the sky, people get turned into these shadow monsters, and what I'm assuming is America basically just gets destroyed.
Okay.
And there is they eventually defeat the first visitation, and life resumes. The few survivors left there start to rebuild, and then settlers come in from abroad and come and help, rebuild the infrastructure, that kind of thing. You start the game as a train driver, so you just literally work on this train.
Mm-hmm.
You drive it from stop to stop. While you're in the process of doing your normal rounds, and they introduced you to this system called the blocker codes, which is every time you pull into a station, apparently an accident happened, so every time a train pulls into a station, the blocker that the train stops at locks it in place and will not let the train go until you have that code.
Oh, okay.
Then you have to go speak to the manager of the station, get the code, take it back, enter it in the train, and then take the train to the next station. You can talk to people, they'll board your train. When they're boarding your train while you're traveling from destination to destination, it's like a plot. It's a story development section, so people on the train are talking to each other, and you get radio calls from other drivers, and you can see how far you are to your next station. There is an air vent on the train that's kind of a little bit messed up, and there's like an electricity thing that's kind of a little messed up, so you've got to manage them and keep the power level of the train leveled out. But at the same time, the passengers on your train have a food and a health meter, so you can feed them and heal them with health kits. But as you're doing that, that takes it out of your supply for going to the next area.
Oh, wow.
Eventually, the second visitation happens, like some hundreds of years later or something. And you are driving a train with very valuable cargo from point A to point B. You have to get to this station while at the same time trying to help survivors, rescue people, maintain your health and your food and their health and their food, and then explore this like little pixel art 2D side-scrolling map section where when you go through a door, it does that Shadow of the Ninja thing where you don't see what's behind a door until you go into that door, and then the room lights up.
Right.
Like it does that thing. You have very limited pistol, you have a gun with limited ammo, you have a melee attack that's very, very weak, and you die at the drop of a hat. So it becomes this really tense, like, crowd management kind of thing when you got like 20 of these shadow monsters all surrounding you. It's really cool though. Like, it's really fun to like get off the station, try to figure out where the blocker code is going to be, then explore this big map, rescue any survivors that you can, send them back to the train, increase your own workload in doing so,
right,
and then go on to the next station so you can deliver your very valuable cargo, which I've already delivered one. Now I'm delivering a second very valuable cargo, because basically you're the only train going at this, traveling on the east side of this nation at the time.
Right.
Every other train has got issues, so it's really good.
It sounds all over the place, but it sounds like once you get into it, then all of that would click.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that they do best is there's a lot of systems in place, like, as you can tell from me trying to describe the type of game. There's a lot of systems in there, but none of them are really super deep. So it's not a case of trying to manage your train and you've got 20 plates spinning at once. It's like...
Yeah, it's not like Train Simulator 2018.
Exactly. It's you hit the button, the train goes. When you arrive, you hit a different button to dock at the actual station itself.
Right.
It's been interesting so far, and I'm actually really like the art style on it. Yes, it's 2D pixel art style, which is kind of... At this point in time, I'm sure even when the game came out, it was a little bit rote.
Sure.
But it's really well done. Like, they do a good job with the lighting, and the music, and kind of like every little thing about it feels really like well designed. And the story sections can get really interesting with the discourse happening between the passengers and things that happen in the background, because as you're going, you'll see like the background will shift and change as you go into different areas, and it'll visually gives you a guide on what's going on in the world while you're driving this train to try and take valuable cargo from A to B. So it's...
Their Twitter account describes the final station as post-apocalyptic train simulator plus zombie shooter.
Yes. It's really kind of cool. It might be worth giving a shot to anybody who... Hey, spoiler alert. Anybody who has a Game Pass on the Xbox has this for free. So, feel free
nice. It looks like it's also out on PC and Switch.
Yep. Oh, the Switch might be a really good place to play this, actually.
Yeah. Ooh. I'll have to see how much it is on there.
Interesting. Anyway, yes, final station. We got the name eventually.
That looks cool. And there's DLC out too, The Only Traitor.
Yep, which looks like he's got a car behind him, so I'm very interested to see if they switch out the train for a car and use the same kind of mechanics.
Yeah.
So, interesting. And the final game I played this week, because my wife could not help herself. Again, I love you, hon, but come on. Dead by Daylight.
Oh, okay.
Which is a game that probably so many people have heard the name of, and they're trying to think, what is that game? I know that name.
I think it has something to do with zombies.
No.
Oh, okay.
Dead by Daylight is the game that came out, I think it came out, or it was at least in early access, right around the same time as Friday the 13th.
Oh, okay.
Because it's the... Deep Impact Armageddon of asymmetrical multiplayer games. Right. It's Friday the 13th, except it's 4 players versus 1 player. 1 player is a killer, 4 people are the survivors.
Okay.
In order to win in Dead by Daylight, you have to start generators. Start the generators, power the exit door, open the exit door, leave. And when the game first came out, it was basically a bunch of knockoff killers. Right. So they had like some dude who he had a chainsaw and he had a funny mask, but he wasn't Michael Myers.
Right.
They had
very clearly we're not litigious.
Mm-hmm. They've got the Wraith, who's like a guy who turns invisible, but so far, from what I've seen, the killers are really, really well balanced. Like, the Wraith can turn invisible, but when he comes out of invisibility, he rings this giant bell. So he's just like, gong, 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 and, like, you know immediately where he is. Then they got licensed DLC.
Oh, okay.
So Michael Myers is now in the game.
Michael Myers is joining his cousin Paul Myers.
Yes, I think you mean Paul Friars.
Right, yes, I'm sorry.
And they used licenses to great effect. And weirdly enough, they changed the way the game plays so much, because one of the other licensed DLC they have in there is the Saw villain.
Oh.
Specifically the lady Saw villain.
Okay.
Who wears the pig mask and the big pig robes.
That is immediately out of my wheelhouse. So much.
The best thing about it is when she downs people, she can put a reverse bear trap on their head.
Oh no.
And if that survivor leaves the area with that on their head, they die.
Oh no.
So there's a bunch of saw machines scattered around the map that you have to go and interact with and do skill checks to get the reverse bear trap off your head.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. The really pretty cool part about it is she is super stealth based. So she doesn't have a terror radius. So you will just... The terror radius, for quick explanation, is every killer has their own skill set. Every killer has their things that they do best, the things they do worst. So, for example, Michael Myers, when you start the round with Michael Myers, he is very, very slow. Like, super duper slow. Like, he walks really slowly. But the positive side of Michael is when you're using him, his terror radius is... The terror radius is essentially what alerts the survivors as to when you're nearby. So
saying like this dude isn't somewhere nearby.
Yeah. So what that works out as a heartbeat. So if you hear da-dum, 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 he's close, but not terribly close.
Right.
And then as your heartbeat increases, that's when the killer is getting closer and closer to you.
That's a cool effect.
Michael Myers, you will hear nothing, and all of a sudden it's just like boom, 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 boom. It's like, okay, so he's right behind me. He's literally standing on top of me right now. And then as the match progresses with Michael, he gets faster and faster and stronger and stronger.
Oh wow.
But then his terror radius increases, so you hear him coming basically from much further away. And he does the best thing ever, which is based on the movies. He has an object of his obsession.
Oh, right.
So he focuses down on one survivor and can always see where that survivor is.
Oh, wow.
The best part is they've included licensed survivors too.
Oh, no.
So there is the equivalent of I think it's Laurie Hogue or something, is his survivor from that series. So... She deliberately becomes the object of obsession, but is really good at fighting off killers.
Oh, wow.
So there's this really good balance and counterbalance point throughout them, and this, I'm going to say it because it's kind of the best, like one of the best touches they've done. They have Freddy.
Okay.
Freddy's invisible. You can't ever see Freddy.
Uh-oh.
Freddy can't hurt you.
Okay.
Because one of Freddy's abilities is to put you into a dream state.
Oh, no.
Only when he has put you into a dream state, which is basically him standing near you and casting a spell on you, basically.
Right.
You go into a dream state, and only then can you see him. Only then can he hit you.
Oh, wow.
But the best thing is, it starts going, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Oh, no.
If you're one of the survivors...
Oh, man.
They've done such a good job, like, in... Even, like, the fake killers that they've made up, they're all really well done. Like, there's one who can transmute through walls. There's essentially a Left 4 Dead Witches in there who sets traps and then can teleport when somebody sets off one of those traps.
Oh, wow.
Can jump to that trap straight away. Like, they've just done so many little touches, and there's so many little things in there. The gameplay is very repetitive right now. It's a case of, if you're a survivor, you go in, you start the generators, you succeed in getting however many you need done. Because I think there's 7 generators on a map the survivors need to start 5 of them. But then there's all sorts of other rules, like, well, for the record, the generators, when you start them, it's you go near them, you keep hold of right bumper, and a bar fills up. You will get skill checks, which is like a quick time event, but the quick time event is only ever left bumper, is the button you press. So as long as you get your timing down, you'll be okay. You know, you can get used to them, and then when you make a mistake, guess what happens? The killer gets alerted. Someone's over here, there's a mistake being made.
Oh, okay.
And the killer only sees in first person. The survivors see in third person, the killers only see in first person, so there's a very restrictive field of view versus what the survivors can see.
Right.
The game seems super well balanced so far from what I've played. I played a fair bit with Jess, and it's actually really kind of fun. The best part is the matches are only about 20 minutes tops so far.
That's great.
You're in, you're out, dead quick. I have some minor things I don't like about the game. You level up the survivors, you can get perks and experience. You get experience points, which are called blood points.
Just call them experience points, guys.
Yeah, I know. There is a lore to this game, so there is an entity, and there is rules like the killer. In order to win, the killer has to sacrifice for all the 4 survivors to the entity, which basically involves him picking them up, putting them on hooks, and then wait a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Other survivors can pull them down off hooks. You know, it's a really interesting, like, back and forth ebb and flow. Do you want to stop the other 3 survivors from getting generators, or focus on this one person you've got on the sacrifice hook, and then let them maybe get every other generator they need for 3 people to escape while you're guarding one of them?
Right.
Even in that case, there are still some survivors who are, like, because there's like 12 survivors. Some of them are designed and really well able to come up, start some stuff with a killer, and then be quick enough to get away at first, so to try and lure him away. So the survivors are all balanced just as equally as the killers are. Like, they all have their specialties. Things I don't like are you unlock items and perks that you can take into the match. So you can have one which is an aura reading ability. So you can see the other survivors through walls. You'll see their aura. If you don't have that, you won't see them, kind of thing, until you actually see them with your eyeballs.
Okay.
There's ones that can increase how effective you are at healing people, so on and so forth. The thing is, you can get items from the experience point system. You can get items that you take into battle, so you get a toolbox, which means when you're repairing a generator, you can use the toolbox, and that will speed up your progress.
Okay.
It's expendable items.
Okay.
On one hand, like, so far I've put a bit of time into it, doesn't seem too bad. But anytime you have, here's a toolbox you've just unlocked. By the way, if you die with this in your hand, you lose it.
Oh, no.
If you use it through the whole bar, you lose it. If you make it out with the tiniest little sliver left on it, you get a brand new one. Yay!
Okay. I mean, I get it, but it's...
I get it too. It's just any system like that where it's like it has expendable items in there, I'm naturally inclined, and it's a little bit of a thing for me. It's scratching on that irritation that you get with the pay-to-play games with those kind of things. It's that kind of irritation. So right now, it doesn't seem too bad. It could just be me taking the bad end of the stick when they seem to have done it okay. But it's for lack of a better phrase, it's a trigger for me. Whenever I see something like that, it's like, you're making me spend experience points to unlock this thing that vanishes.
Yeah.
That is iffy to me.
Yeah, like, from a balance perspective, I get it, but I don't want to use up something that has such a benefit once.
But that's then the problem I have, is I never want to use them. And then I end up with an inventory full of the things. I was like, well, why don't I just use them? It's something I myself need to deal with. It's something I need to make sure, before I can 100% say, this is BS or this is okay, I need to kind of take myself out of the equation, put myself to one side and see if it's actually balanced by playing it, rather than jump to that conclusion, which I did with my wife, and I explained to her, I was like, this specific aspect of it bothers me, but we'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dead by Daylight is actually really fun. Like, really,
it sounds really good.
It's really, really fun and kind of creepy, and there's something hilarious about sitting next to your wife when she starts screaming about something's right behind her.
Right.
So, hopefully we can get a couple more people in. One thing I will say before I finish talking about Dead by Daylight, it has my favourite lobby system I think I've probably ever seen.
Oh, yeah?
The whole setup is this entity summons killers, summons survivors, forces the killers to sacrifice them to the entity to make the entity happy. The lobby system for the survivors is a campfire, and then 4 of them standing around it.
Great.
You don't know who the killer is until you are in the game.
Nice.
So you cannot prepare yourself for who you're against until you're in the game. The lobby for the killer is a over-the-shoulder view of the killer looking at the campfire with the 4 survivors standing around it.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really well done. It's the nicest little touch of, like, it's the exact same lobby system, except the camera's just zoomed in for the survivors so they can't see the killer. It's really nice.
That's
touch.
Cool.
But Dead by Daylight seems pretty fun, and hopefully if anybody else out there has it, I'm playing on the Xbox. So if you see my wife and I playing it and you'd like to make a 4-man survivor team, or even a 5-man team, and one of us gets to murder everyone brutally, let us know.
Yeah, hop on in.
Yeah, Jess is already like level 30 something with one of the survivors. She's in love with this game.
Yeah.
Hey, well, yeah, that's all I've been playing. Over to you, Mr. Boston.
A little bit. There was a recent major update for Marvel Puzzle Quest where they added. Yeah, I was pulling up my notes. Supports.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot about the supports.
Which I honestly haven't messed around too much with, so I don't want to dive too deep into. But it's basically like perks for your characters that sort of make certain facets of them a little bit stronger.
Yes.
It on the surface seems fine. I sort of almost this is probably pessimistic of me, but I sort of assume it's going to be broken right out of the gate.
Oh yeah, it's Marvel Puzzle Quest, so yes, it will.
But it also seems to me like I feel pessimistic because it's an older game that is making a fundamental change to how one of its systems works, and it's not even MPQ. It's just like, well, this is gonna be broken. It's gonna take a bit to fix. It seems fine so far, but we were talking on the MPQ channel in the Discord. The part that it's only for the PvE stuff right now. I will be really hesitant if they ever bring it to the PvP side. PvP in that game is already a little bit trolly, I guess is probably the best way to put it. Like, you can make some really strong teams and some really great synergies, and some teams that are just impossible to beat. And I feel like if supports gets moved over there, then you'll have, like, the thing that I like about Marvel Puzzle Quest is there are a ton of characters that work together really well with each other, just out of hand.
Yeah.
I really don't want Marvel Puzzle Quest to say, like, well, you have to run as this group, and you have to have these supports, you have to have them leveled up, like, you know, people super min-maxing groups, even for PvE stuff. Like, I don't...
You don't want it to
I don't really want the game... Yeah, like, I don't want the game to get to that. I play Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. I'm doing plenty of that over there.
Yeah, I've had you guys talk about it on PUP. I don't need none of that in my Marvel Puzzle Quest, please.
Yeah, exactly. I like Marvel Puzzle Quest being a little bit... I don't want to say simple, because it's not really that simple, but the level of complexity that it had, I felt like was good. Mm-hmm. But I can understand that I have been playing 3 years less than a lot of other people. So
yeah,
people that are, you know, have a full roster, they're just all like, all right, what else can we do? Really giving them something to sort of sink their teeth into. So we'll see. I haven't even really interacted with it that much because I just haven't had the time. But it so far seems fine. But I hope they don't extend it too far. I also started up Marvel Strike Force, which is another Marvel mobile game.
So how many is that you play now? 4?
2. Just the 2.
Oh, you backed out on AA, didn't you?
Yeah, Avengers Academy, like, I hopped back in when they redid the whole system, and it's good. Like, it's still good. I think Gibbinator in chat said they just added some sort of gacha system to it as well, which I'm glad I uninstalled it. But it just, compared to other stuff I'm playing, I don't really feel like I'm getting that much out of the time I'm putting into it. Mm-hmm. So it's gotta go. Sorry. Marvel Strike Force is interesting though because it's a turn-based RPG.
Okay. So I know immediately why Boston started playing this.
Yeah, I started playing it because it came out and it looked pretty cool, and someone, I think it's Jive495 in the Discord server, said he started an alliance. And so far it seems pretty neat. I don't necessarily know if it's something I'll dive too deep into, again, because I only have so much time in the day to play mobile stuff.
Yeah.
And I can... The thing that I liked about it so far is each hero starts out with a couple skills. You know, they have equipment, which makes them stronger. You level up individual characters along with your account. You know, it's all fairly standard stuff. I feel like some of those games, and I know, Moon, you've run into some of these in the past, this isn't the type of game that I'm talking about, but a lot of times you start a game like this and, you know, from the moment it asks you to log into Facebook, you can see the dollar signs.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, if only you had all these shards to unlock this character, boy, you'd be so much stronger. You could get a pack of shards for $5 a piece. Yeah. You know, it's always sort of nagging you at the corners of the game. So far, Strike Force, I played like the first chapter of the story, which is like 10 missions. Nothing really popped up for me. You know, once it popped up where it's like, hey, for 48 hours you can spend $10 and get like a beginner's bundle. That's fine. Every game has that nowadays. But it seems like it's occasionally giving me premium currency to open loot crates, which is fine.
Yeah.
The games I hate are the ones that don't give you that currency at all.
Yeah, and then they give you like they'll give you 4 chests and be like, you can only hold 4 at once, but you do need premium currency, and we ain't giving you premium currency until you buy it.
I bet these chests have something real good in them. If it's just $3 a pop. It's like, well, no. So far none of that. It doesn't. I guess to boil it down, it doesn't feel greedy. We've played those games where immediately the game just feels greedy, where it has its hands out and it's like, gimme.
Yeah.
So far it doesn't feel like that. I probably played maybe an hour or two. A lot of games sort of show their spots pretty quickly. So
yeah, especially mobile games, normally it's like 30 minutes and you know straight away this is a game that's trying to get me.
Yeah. So I'll probably put a little bit of time in it here and there, but my first love is Marvel Puzzle Quest. I think mostly because I have the roster there.
Yeah. It also helps that, like, we've been playing MPQ for a little bit now, but some of us have put money into it, some of us haven't, but it never feels like you're far away from getting a new slot, a new person, a new goal. I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Like, my personal strategy is I'll do one of the events. Right now it's the Fight for Wakanda. I'll do what I can in each day of that event, and then at the end of the event is when I sit there and go, how many tokens have I got? Let me open them all.
Yeah, let's just start pulling.
Exactly, and then I've got 4 days of no progress. Really, well, getting ISO and getting everything else, getting the currencies. But then, at the end of that event, then it's that one big, huge dopamine hit of, look at all these new people I've got.
I pulled 40 tokens, yeah!
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have 49 legendary tokens sitting in my account right now, and I'm just like, I have no hero points. I just want to pull.
I've just hit 2,000 hero points. So
yeah,
I'm debating whether or not to pull my 2 legendary tokens that I've got.
Yeah. I've been squirreling them away for months just because I wanted to get through getting all the 2-star characters and all the 3-star characters. That way, once I have like enough hero points for a slot, then I can start pulling the legendary.
Yeah.
Because if not, I'm just going to be like, well, goodbye 5-star character.
Well,
goodbye forever.
I think I've got every 2-star, every 3-star now.
Yeah.
I haven't champed every 3-star yet, but I've got them all in my roster. So now it's a case of every single hero point I get will go towards a 4-star or a 5-star, depending on what I pull.
Yeah, I've got all my 2 stars champed, and I'm like halfway through 3-star, and that's what I'm working on now. It's just... it's just so good.
Yep.
And last but not least, the game that I have spent the most time with this week is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, can we talk about how beautiful that is really quick?
Oh man, I was talking to somebody on Twitter. I don't remember who it was, but they said, you know, they spent about half of their game time in photo mode, and I told them that as of this morning, because I took more screenshots, the PS4 has told me that I have saved 4 gigs worth of screenshots of this game. So I'm just, it's just like, I don't want to start a console war. To be clear, that's not something I ever like doing in the show. Part of the reason why I like the PS4 so much is I can just tap that share button, it saves a screenshot, or I can tap and hold and it automatically opens up like, hey, share to Twitter, and I just fire something off. Like, I really like the ease of the PS4 letting me screenshot and save stuff, because I love sharing this stuff with people on Twitter, even if like one person likes it, then fine, you know. And I really, really hate when publishers block me from being able to save and share stuff. You know, the end of Ni no Kuni 2, I'm looking at you. It's like for the last 4 hours of that game, they blocked everything.
It's an interesting way to do things, especially like for streamers and stuff like that. It's an interesting way to be like, we put hundreds of hours into this game. Look, you can stream it all you want till this point.
Right.
Then no
and
more.
The way around it is to just hook it up to a capture card.
Yeah.
You know, like the way around it is so hilariously easy.
Yep.
I would have a lot less problems with that if publishers would go back in later and lift those restrictions. Persona 5.
They never would.
Yeah, they never would. I understand that it would probably introduce some sort of likelihood of bugs, which they don't want to, 2 years after a game comes out, but it just sucks.
Yeah.
But yes, Horizon Zero Dawn is beautiful, and I'm not even playing in 4K. I'm playing at 1080 super sampled, and it looks so good. I can't remember a time where I've had any frame rate drops. For me, it has been really stable at 30.
Yeah.
I'm running in resolution mode in the game. I tried performance mode, but it also capped the frame rate at 30 and just made the game look worse. So I don't know if that's for like if you're running on a vanilla PS4, a non-pro, and you're running into frame rate issues, then you could run on that. But
I don't think those modes show up on a vanilla. It's the same.
Oh, they might not. Yeah,
Same
right.
as the Xbox, like you don't get any of those mode options.
Yeah, because like I don't get HDR because I don't have an HDR TV. It's just grayed out. Yeah, that's true. I don't really have any complaints about Horizon Zero Dawn, which is weird. I spent a lot of time this week. I think one nice thing opening up really early was I could just summon a mount at any time instead of having to override one of the enemies and then hop on them.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time. I'm probably 25 hours through this game. I feel like I've moved through it really quickly. I just finished up all my side missions this morning, and I'm going towards the final battle. Which I am very excited about. I think one of the things that I'm so surprised about with Horizon Zero Dawn is that I genuinely really care about the story. Oh no, did you freeze again?
No, I did not.
Okay, whew. You're just very still.
I'm listening.
I really do care about the story, which is the thing that a lot of open world games fail on, and
Far Cry 5 looking at you.
Yeah, and I feel like Guerrilla has gone above and beyond trying to sell this story. Number one, because the story is really good, but number two, I feel like anytime, even us included, go into an open world, it's gonna be like, yeah, it's mostly about exploration and side quests and stuff, and the story is sort of secondary.
Yeah, it's something I think Origins did fantastically as well.
Yeah.
Like, even they did the thing that's really difficult to do, which is to use the open world to build the story even better.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of thing is so difficult to do as well, but I mean, Zero Dawn, since the day it's released, it's been on the list of like 5 games I want a PlayStation 4 for.
Yeah, like you pick up the PS4 and here are the games you pick up with it.
Exactly.
And I think the thing that I was skeptical about, and people who haven't played this will be skeptical about this statement when I say it, is when I was listening to and watching people play it, they said the storyline of like these low technology people with bows and arrows fighting advanced killing machines makes sense, and they explain it. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure, yeah. Like, put that Jennifer Lawrence gif in there, like, yeah. But they really do. And it makes a lot, I think, to their credit, it makes so much sense how this whole thing happened and how they describe sort of how the world got into this situation it's in right now. And I definitely don't want to spoil it, because I went into it, that's really the only thing I went into the game knowing is, one, it's really great, and two, they explain the story. And I'm really impressed at how they managed to do that.
That's really actually very impressive. Like, if they can make something like that make sense, then absolutely amazing job to them. Like,
and that's what I'm looking. That's why I'm really looking forward to going to the final boss battles, because now that I have uncovered all this stuff and now I know, what really happened, I really need to know how they're gonna finish off this storyline.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I have the DLC, because I bought the complete edition or whatever it is.
Yeah, the Frozen Wastes or whatever it is.
Yeah, or Wilds or something like that. I've had the quest, basically the very first big city you run into, they're like, weird things are happening in the north. And I'm like,
yeah.
And then it says level 30. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, I'll see you guys way later. Actually, a great benefit of having the DLC installed when you start the game is, instead of getting 3 skill trees, you get 4.
So you can immediately start putting points into the DLC skill tree.
Yeah, and a lot of those skills are actually really good, like repairing some of your... One of the big things that she does in the game is overriding some of these robotic enemies, and some of them you can ride, but even if you can't ride them, they're going to fight alongside you.
Yeah.
And you can even override, like by the point I'm at in the game, I can override anything, including some of the really crazy, very nasty ones. But one of the skills in that skill tree is you can actually spend your currency to repair them. So you can have, some robot chicken following you around that every time you're done with a battle, just repair that dude and then, keep on moving on in the next fight. Oh God, what else? I still haven't really gotten sick of fighting anything in this game. Mm-hmm. And I think a large part of that is pretty early on you'll get a bow that you can use to knock pieces off of enemies. And some of those are, like you'll knock up. There's this one flying enemy. You knock the chest plate off of it and expose this thing on the inside. You hit that a couple times, and it does this giant freezing blast to enemies in the vicinity, damages them, slows them down, and then the enemy you blew up falls to the ground and gets stunned. And I've probably done that 50 times to these enemies, and it never gets old because I almost feel like I'm gaming the system.
Yeah. It's the Red Faction thing of how many times can I hit the base of something huge and watch it fall over and it still be fun.
Yeah, and that number's infinity.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's great because you can use, in the intro of the game, you pick up this little thing you put in your ear called a focus, and it lets you scan your environment by clicking in, I think it's R3. And it's great because you can scan your enemies and you see all the pieces that you can break off. And the monster log in the game tells you, okay, if you break off this piece and then hit the inside, it'll stop them from doing this, or it will do this effect, or it'll blow up like this. Yeah. And that still feels really great. And it, for some of the really strong enemies, it's kind of a necessity. There's an enemy really late in the game called a Thunderjaw, which basically looks like a giant dinosaur, but it has these very large guns on its shoulders, and if you shoot those off, they fall off, and you can pick them up and then use them against him. And
it's a really cool low-tech way to describe guns as well, especially attached to the face. Logically, it makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. We'll call this thing a Thunderjaw because when thunder and lightning happens, it's a big boom, and this guy comes close, and loud noises happen, and then people die.
And he shoots stuff out of his face. Yeah. Like it's really cool, and a lot of the tech that's in there is very alien, and you can tell it's very much ripped off of a robot and repurposed somehow. Yeah. So it's really great, and there are, I think it's 15 of them in the game. There are these challenges. They're totally optional. But I eventually went through all 15 because, like, this one guy does stealth-only ones, and you need to loot 4 canisters off of the back of these robots that walk around with, like, storage pods on the back of them. One of the ones I really liked were you need to take down one of those Thunderjaws, but you need to do it by overriding 2 machines that are near it and then using those along with you to fight the Thunderjaw.
Interesting.
A lot of really cool stuff like that. And I feel this game is reminding me a lot of Assassin's Creed Origins, because I think that one of the things we liked with Origins a lot was, compared to the other Assassin's Creed games, there was a lot less stuff in it to do.
Yeah.
But all that stuff was really good. I think Horizon Zero Dawn takes that a step further, that there's way less stuff to do in this game than normal open world games, but all of it is rewarding and all of it is interesting.
Yeah.
Like when you go climb on high spots to do these vantage point items, you get a voiceover and you get a glimpse into sort of like what some of the past might have looked like, a technologically advanced past, and then you get a data log, basically a text data log in the game that's like 2 pages worth of this one guy's story that you're following through all these collectibles. You have those challenge points. There's only 15 of them, but you do all of them, you get some incredible weapons at the end that are super powered because you went through all these challenges.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of why I've been enjoying, bless you.
Thank you.
Horizon is because I've spent 25 or 30 hours. My in-game clock, of course, is wrong because it's sitting there paused a lot of the time. Yeah. I feel like everything I have done has been worthwhile and beneficial, and there's always been just enough of it in the game that by the time I'm done with it, I'm like, all right. Like I feel like I played enough of that one type of activity that now I'm good.
Yeah.
Like those dungeons, those cauldrons, there's 6 of them. By the time I was done with those, I was like, cool. If I would have done one more of those, that might have been one too many.
Yeah, it's the old, there's only 50 chests to collect, or, oh, hey, there's only 300 agility orbs to collect.
Right, exactly. It's like after 100, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm excited to see the ending now, is because I've done all the side content.
Is this another platinum I'm smelling?
Yeah, but sort of by accident. A lot of it, like, I will get the platinum just by playing the game and just by doing all of the side content, but not really. I haven't grinded for any of it.
That's the best kind.
Yeah, and like some of the trophies will come while I play the DLC. Some of the base game's trophies will come while I play the DLC, just because it's all kind of smushed together now.
Yeah.
But like I didn't have to like pull up a guide and be like, okay, I have to do this from moment 1 and I have to make sure I don't do this thing wrong. Like the only thing I had to look up was there in some of the early villages in the game, there are these training dummies that look like straw versions of some of the robots, and you just have to knock all of those down. There's 23 of them. They don't show up on the map, and what I didn't realize is if you use your focus, you can sort of see them through walls. So I didn't even need to look up the map. But that was really the only one, and I have to say, it's a shame 2017 was so good, because if I had played this last year, it would have been on my top 10.
Yeah.
Easily. It's just there were 400 other great games that got released last year that I got to first.
I'm smelling at least an honorable mention for Symphony of the Night sponsored the old game of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to definitely be in the old game. It's funny, I was looking at my top 10. I think I have, like, including stuff that's coming out this week, I think I have 6 games I've played this week, this year, and I've finished, once I finish Horizon, no, that doesn't include it, so I think I've finished 2, and then, like, in my old games category, I have, like, 15 games right now. It's just, like, I'm trying to catch up on 2017's greatness, and making this year's list a little rough so far, but it's only April, so...
Yeah, only April. Like, it's not going to be December tomorrow.
Well, like I said on Twitter, because I sent Moon an email about thoughts I've been having about the top 10. I wrote on Twitter, it's like, it's a little early for that, because E3 hasn't even happened yet.
Nope, that's like 2 weeks away at this point or something. It's
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But 2018 is really great, and 2017 is still really great. But yeah, hopefully I've got some stuff coming out next week, so I'm hoping to knock out, at the very least, the base game of this, if not sort of do the minimum stuff in the Frozen Wilds, whatever the DLC is, to sort of knock that out, and then sort of put that back on the shelf and say, like, hey, I this is not a dig against them, but hey, I played a Guerrilla game I really liked. Because Killzone never clicked with me.
I was going to say, because it's not a first-person shooter. That's why.
Yeah, and Killzone, those games were good. There was just something about them that never... I bought the one that came on PS4 at launch, and I tried it, and it just still didn't click with me.
Yeah.
Just something about their game. And I have to say, I didn't realize until someone mentioned it in Discord, and then I started picking up some items... They patched some items in game. This is the same engine that Death Stranding will run on.
Yep.
And there are 3 Death Stranding collectibles in the game that they sort of tucked away and hid. So I thought that was cool. And man, that game's going to look really good.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, that's all I've played this week. So let's take a break. Let's talk releases for the week of April 16th, 2018. Yakuza 6 Song of Life comes out on the PS4.
Bye-bye, Boston.
Yeah, well... Yeah, we'll talk about it for the next game, but I unfortunately have to shelf Yakuza 6 in deference to God of War, which also comes out on PS4 this week.
Speaking of one of the games that makes me want a PS4...
Yeah, so... I have not felt strongly one way or another about God of War since its announcement, mostly because I just wanted to wait and see. I feel like I've gotten excited for so many God of War games since 2 and sort of got let down time and time again.
Yep.
And except for the mobile ones, I liked the PSP ones.
Wait, what?
I thought the PSP ones were good.
Let me just write down most controversial statement of 2018. Considering some of the statements that have been made this year.
That's fair. I feel like a lot of people that didn't like those games didn't genuinely play them.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So when the reviews started coming out of the new God of War, I was sort of like, okay, yeah, a lot of people are giving it, like IGN and Destructoid, they're giving it a 10 out of 10. Okay. Like that's sort of par for the course, sort of what I expect. And then Polygon gave it a really great review.
Yep.
And I was sort of like...
Polygon are harsh. Like, they are harsh on scores.
And then Waypoint did. And I was like, okay. And then US Gamer did. And I was like, okay, hold on. If US Gamer's giving this a 5 out of 5, and then Giant Bomb gave it 5 out of 5. And I was like, okay. Well, apparently I need to pre-order this.
Do you know who did the review for Giant Bomb?
It was Dan Reichert, who... I feel is a very talented writer, and I feel like the strength of Giant Bomb is that since it's such a cult of personality, you know who you agree with and who you don't.
Yep. In this case, he loves God of War.
Yeah, and I often don't agree with him, but I feel like a lot of people probably aren't going to know this name, but Matt Leone used to work at 1UP, and I think he works at Polygon now. He's like their Polygon's features. Loved God of War. Like, they're to the point where it could do no wrong. And I feel like if Dan Reichert had minor problems with God of War, it would have gotten less than a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
So I feel like with so many nearly every outlet giving this game, a perfect score, and so many of them that are very harsh on games and typically very critical.
Yeah.
Because I think Patrick Klepek reviewed it for Waypoint, and I didn't read all of his review because I skipped over some of the stuff that might be a little spoilery because I'm going in basically blind. A lot of the stuff he said was sort of like, okay, yeah, that sounds really good. So, okay, I will pre-order it. That I wasn't expecting to. Yep. This is an expensive week.
Now all I need to do is buy a PS4 Pro.
You already have the 4K TV, so the biggest price is done there.
Yeah. Just everything else.
Pretty soon TCL is going to be coming out with their brand new 4K TVs, and I'm excited, even though I can't afford one.
Yeah, well, starter entries. Like, we had this huge discussion in Discord about that brand of TV. It was great.
Yeah. For $600, you get a really great 4K TV with, Dolby HDR10. That's all you need.
Yep.
So now I have to play God of War first before Yakuza 6 because it's just going to be like 100 hours.
Yeah.
And last but not least, finally coming out on the 20th, Nintendo Labo for the Switch, the 2 starter packs for them. Very excited to watch people's videos on Twitter of cool stuff they make that isn't included in the box.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for people to start mixing up Lego with this as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you see some stuff people make out of Lego and it's incredible. I can't wait to see what people do with Lego and cardboard and that thing.
Yeah, and you stick a Switch in it, and yeah, it's very interesting. I'm very interested. This is obviously my kid is 16 months old, so she's more interested in chewing and tearing cardboard than she would be folding it and sticking a Switch into it. So obviously not a great fiscal investment for me right now. But man, I'm excited to see what people are waiting for that Labo subreddit to pop up where people are sharing 3D printed models of stuff. And
yeah, well, if you're a listener and you've never heard of or seen anything to do with papercraft, go Google papercraft and papercraft models and see what people do with a printer and a piece of paper.
Yeah,
like, it's ridiculous.
Death2K in chat asks, next step in Toys to Life? Yeah, I sort of feel like maybe Nintendo's initial foray into that was Amiibo. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is the next step. When we were kids, it was like the Lego Mindstorms, where it's like, you can program a little thing and you make a robot. I feel like that's, the programmable thing version for the Switch. Because that seems to be, they've shown some stuff for some of the advanced stuff where, you're putting logic gates and basic programming. And I, as someone who has a degree in computer science, I think that's really cool for getting kids
interested in
things programming
that will actually help in the future.
Yeah, and like robot building and potentially 3D printing and stuff like that could be pretty cool. Everybody has a Switch at this point, so
honestly, I just can't wait to see all of the cardboard Gundams walking down streets fighting with each other. Great.
I hadn't even thought about that, but yes, I want that very badly. Twitch's next hit show, Fighting Gundams. Let's move on to news stories. Bungie announces the second expansion for Destiny 2 out May 5th, titled Warmind.
Yeah.
I just feel I haven't touched Destiny 2. So first off, Destiny 2 has only been out for 6 months. I just realized.
Yep.
It has felt like a lifetime.
Yep.
Which, probably a good or bad thing. This is not...
Just really quick, sorry. This... Do they refer to this as Season 2 of content?
No, this is just the second piece of DLC.
Oh, okay.
Season 2 is currently going on right now. Basically, their season is like... the clan rewards.
Yeah, it's like the Hearthstone.
Yeah,
everything else like that. Seasons where stuff just gets reset at the end of it. Okay.
Yeah, and then whenever this DLC comes out, then Season 3 will start. So, as someone who loved the lore of the first Destiny, I'm really excited for them to touch on the Warmind stuff, because that was some of the coolest stuff. It is some of the coolest stuff in Destiny. I'm just continually concerned about everything else.
Yeah.
Like, I know this is sort of beating a dead horse, and Bungie has, over the last 2 months, have gone really great lengths to lay out their development roadmap and be better about not showing expansions before they come out, which is really great. Although now the community is saying, like, well, it's really going to be bad because they're not showing anything. It's like, you
literally cannot win.
You asked for that. You asked for them to stop showing you all the DLC. Oh, whatever.
Welcome to the internet, folks.
Yeah, exactly. And they're making really great strides on making this a better game. It's just, for a lot of people, myself included, it's too little too late. Yep. The changes are very minor, and I understand that Destiny 2 is just a huge beast that you need to test correctly to make sure that patches don't break everything. It's just happening too slowly.
Yeah. When we picked up Destiny 2, we didn't buy the Season Pass because we didn't have confidence that Bungie were going to deliver.
Yep.
We still have not picked up the Season Pass.
Yep.
That should tell you what you need to know.
Yeah, and I mean, I played Destiny 1 basically every day when it was out, and I haven't touched this game for probably about 2 months. Yep. I have the Season Pass because I bought the whatever collector's edition or whatever just to get the cool steelbook. But I'm worried about them telling a story about the Warminds and the lore with the tone that they've set in Destiny 2. That tone largely has been lighter than the first game, and I'm concerned about that. So I'll go back to it when the expansion comes out, and I will at the very least play that, and I will very happily talk about it on the show. It's just that I'm in the same position that you're at right now, where if they come out with another season pass, or even if they come out with more DLC, unless they relaunch the game, I might not be in.
Yep.
That hurts my heart.
Yep. Well, unfortunately, it's one of those things where it's like they nailed it at the end of 1.
Yep.
Like,
I will scream it to the rooftops.
Every
they
single
nailed
account I've heard is the end of 1 was pretty much about as perfect as you can get for what they were looking for, with minor issues aside. And then they come out with 2, and it's the same stuff over
it's just
and
gutted
over again.
Yep. Well, I was thinking too, like, what drove me to playing Destiny 1 every day and every week and all that stuff. And like, they even removed daily and weekly quests between Destiny 1 and 2. Like, they removed leveling up the factions and stuff. And I just, like Mina and Chad is talking about Final Fantasy 14, like, Bungie had the roadmap when Final Fantasy 14 came out, the 1.0 version. It was bad. Mm-hmm. And Square Enix said, cool, all of you guys are fired. Let's try again. And they came out with A Realm Reborn, and they knocked it out of the park.
Yep.
Like, as soon as A Realm Reborn came out, because they listened and they fundamentally redid that entire game.
Oh yeah, when Realm Reborn came out, everyone I ever knew who had ever touched Final Fantasy 14 just was like, this is the best thing ever. This is how it should have been from day one.
You guys did it! Good job! Mm-hmm. Yeah. That Bungie needs to do something like that. Like, the thing about Destiny 2 that I will still say is it's still fun to play. The shooting still feels really great. It's just virtually everything around that core fundamental gameplay, everything else needs some love. Yeah. Just in some way. And that's not an enviable position to be in. Let's talk about our next news story. Rumor here that Forza Horizon 4 looks like it's going to get an E3 reveal because it might have accidentally got talked about by an Xbox executive.
It wasn't Phil, was it?
No, it was Fernando Delgado, the head of Xbox in Spain and Portugal. He sidestepped the question, saying, quote, "There have been many speculations about where the next Forza Horizon will be, and that is what we will tell later at E3, end quote." And then the Xbox company went like, wait, hold on. He didn't mean that. We just didn't, hold on. So...
Yeah, the best thing those Xbox execs could have done was just no selling.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what we're doing for E3. He's only head of Xbox Europe.
Just say like, did he say something? Oh, that's crazy. See you guys later. But yeah, you want to come out with a new Forza Horizon. That would be pretty great as long as you don't pooch it like Forza 7.
Yeah. Let's not go down that road.
Yeah, don't go down the DLC road. I haven't actually looked to see how well Forza 7 sold, but I wonder if it did less than... I don't think it sold like... Well, people were mad about loot boxes. We only sold 200 copies. It's not going to do that, but...
yeah. But to be honest, I think more and more people are getting fed up of the sim games. Like, we've seen it throughout the past X amount of years of video games. Sim games will rise and sim games will fall, and then they'll rise again, and then they'll fall again, and they'll rise again and fall again.
Yep.
It's the cyclical nature of these things. It's people want like the super hardcore sim for a couple of years, and then you need to know to take it away. Yeah. As much as I love what they're doing right now with the mainline series and Horizon, where they're cycling out one each year. At the same time, that's still a whole lot of racing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time that sim games took a step back, considering you've got stuff like Project Cars and Project Cars 2 and
Aletta Corso.
Exactly. Like, there's so many sim games out there right now, and not enough kart games. Give me Forza Kart, where everyone's just driving cars and firing not blue shells, because that would probably be copyrighted.
Probably. But that's what I like about Forza Horizon is like this sort of is antithetic to what we were talking about before with open world games, and especially with something like Far Cry 5. But the thing that excites me about Forza Horizon is I kind of know exactly what game I'm going to get. It's just going to be on another continent this time. And as long as they stick to that, that's pretty exciting.
Yep. Just give me Japan.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, where have the Forza Horizon games been so far? One was Europe, like the Italy kind of area.
Yeah.
We've had one in Australia.
3 was Australia.
What was the other one? Was the other one generic America somewhere?
Oh, it was like the Southwest. It was like Coachella, basically. Okay. Like the American Southwest.
Yeah. Give me Japan. Give me mountains.
Yep.
Give me, temples and everything else like that. Give me that whole...
Yep, Sakura blossom trees. Like, let me race through some of that.
Mm-hmm. If you're gonna give me drift zones, at least do it in the right country.
Just give me one, one in the whole game. I can do one.
And it's all the way down the mountain.
It's like SSX 3. Now you're going down the mountain. It's like, oh no. The other thing too in this news story that's interesting is, we talked about it a little while ago that there's the rumor that Playground Games is working on a new Fable.
Yep.
The one big thing that would give me pause for Forza Horizon 4 would be if Playground Games isn't making it. Because I feel like they've nailed that formula so well that, like, if it's not Playground Games, maybe if it's Turn 10, that might still be okay. But if it's like some Microsoft internal team that hasn't really proven, that would give me pause, and probably I would... That wouldn't be a pre-order for me. That would be like a wait and see for a couple of weeks just to see, hey, does it still play the same?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last news story here, but certainly not least. We talked, I think it was a couple of months ago, about Twin Galaxies doing some investigation into Billy Mitchell's old high scores for Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah, shall we?
Yeah, and there was a lot of accusations of, he either played it on MAME or he was playing it on an arcade cabinet that had been otherwise modified. And Twin Galaxies this week has ushered their verdict, which is all of Billy Mitchell's high scores for everything have been wiped from Twin Galaxies.
Yep.
They are basically saying that they cannot verify the authenticity of his scores. So as such, and they're assuming that it's a serial issue, that they are... No, Siri, I'm not talking to you. My phone just popped up like, what? That all of his scores are null and void across all titles.
It's not... I think it's a case of... It's not even just a case of this one is in question. It's a case of you lied about this one.
Right.
So, therefore, we cannot trust you to be honest about anything. So, therefore, we're just going to take the easy route here and say, you want to do it again? Do it again. Do it on video. Do everything correctly, the right way it should have been done from the get-go. And you're back,
Well, except they also say, quote, as well as ban him from participating in our competitive leaderboards, end quote. So... He's gone for good. So, and they've also alerted Guinness World Records, which have also stripped him of his world records. This is a really interesting thing. I think it's really easy to paint Billy Mitchell as a villain.
Yeah.
And he has certainly not helped his reputation through his actions over the last 30 years.
Yeah, like, for the record, I didn't even know this name until this story came up, because, spoiler alert, if you're in England during the time before the internet, these things don't really come across too well, especially not when you're not living in, like, the tech center of the country. Like,
yeah, and before King of Kong came out, the movie, he wasn't really... people knew of him, but it was more... like, oh, there's Billy Mitchell, like the hot sauce guy. Okay. I think there's a couple interesting points here. I think, number one, now the high score for Donkey Kong swings over to Steve Wiebe, the other guy in King of Kong.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing that Twin Galaxies didn't stress it up enough is... they're not necessarily saying that he cheated. They just can't verify that he didn't.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's interesting. It's easy to assume, well, it's Billy Mitchell says he's a cheater. He cheated. He might have, but I think it's interesting to see that they didn't say that. It's also sort of interesting because I saw some people talking online about some of his other records that he had done in front of large crowds, like some of the, I think, Miss Pac-Man stuff, that people are surprised that he also got wiped from Twin Galaxies. But you did that in front of a crowd, that's fine, but what about the ones that you didn't? The ones that they were investigating? And in between breaks of this show, he actually released a statement. He released a video that I didn't watch, but I did read a statement where it's very basically like, yo, I have the proof. He's basically saying like, yo, I've got the receipts. I have the proof, and it will all come out in due time. And it's like, well...
The fact that you're phrasing it as due time. Why due time? Why not as soon as this whole thing came up months ago?
Right.
Here's the proof. Here's your answer. Discussion over.
Yeah, when Twin Galaxies said, hey, do you have proof that you didn't cheat? And there was radio silence.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but if someone says, I have proof, it will come out in due time. To me, that stinks of... Let me just... I'll get back to you when I've got...
How much does Photoshop cost?
I've got a different plan. Let me just get back to you when it's all nailed in place.
Right. The truth will out, Moonpier. It's like, well... Probably not. All right, let's move on to emails here. Actually, all of them for Discord. So questions. Maximus Prime. Oh, we're carrying over some of this stuff from last week, the flu week. Maximus Prime asks, do you think the popularity of the Ready Player One movie is a good thing or bad thing for the video game industry? I don't think something like Ready Player One getting negative reviews at this point would even impact the industry. I feel like it's big enough that doesn't really put a dent in it.
No, I think the thing you're seeing from this is the same old battle lines that you've seen drawn throughout the history of video games, which is a bunch of nerds going to see it and loving all the references, a separate bunch of nerds going to see it and hating it because it's not exactly as the book should be,
right?
And a bunch of regular folk going to see it and saying, I don't get that, that's too nerdy for me.
Right. Was that Halo guy? I don't know. Yeah. I feel like it's probably a good thing that nothing really got impacted, other than those three types of people that went to go see it.
Yep. Which, for the record, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And now that he mentions it, it sort of came and went. So no other huge big controversies. So that's all right.
Yeah.
I'll see it someday. I thought the book was fine. I'll watch the movie. It's probably fine. Book. Yeah. T-Bomb Rocks in Discord asks, do you think Microsoft finally announces VR support this year at E3? What headsets do you think it'll support? I don't think they're going to support VR headsets. I think...
You think they're going to do the MR?
Yeah, I think they're going to do either MR or pure AR, because I feel like Sony was seen as an also-ran with VR when PSVR came out, and that wasn't that long after Oculus Rift came out. I feel like if Microsoft's sort of been on the back foot for this generation. They're doing much better now, so there's not a giant chasm between the two.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they announced just VR, then the stuff you see on E3 is, well, Microsoft also has a VR headset. Moving on, instead of here's why you should care about what Microsoft is doing for mixed reality or augmented reality.
I think, to be honest, I think they need to learn from everybody else, which is not everybody has space for a bunch of fundangles in their house. Yep. So I think until someone nails that inside-out tracking, and I mean nails the inside-out tracking where the lighthouses are essentially built into the headset and it tracks from you to the rest of the room.
It's a wireless headset that lasts all day.
Yeah, until someone nails that, I don't think they're going to put the foot into it just yet. Until they can say, this is the next step of VR. This is what we believe is the next step of VR. We are with these. And it wouldn't actually surprise me if at the same time they say, oh yeah, you can also use these other ones as well.
Yeah, like it also supports USB headsets, like that's fine.
Like they don't have a dog in the race. They just don't.
Well, and to me, I feel like if I was in Microsoft's shoes, I don't think I'd do anything. Mm-hmm. Kinect just died on the Xbox One, like a couple of months ago. So I feel like the Xbox One is in such a great position right now where it is more powerful than the PS4 Pro. And the games that they have coming out that support 4K and HDR look really great. And they're doing... Look at how much coverage they got for backwards compatibility for Red Dead Redemption with a 4K patch that genuinely looks really good.
Yep.
So, why do VR? Like, why not just say, hey, remember all these great games you got for the 360? Now they look really good on your TV. Do you want to play Red Dead Redemption again? People probably go, hell yeah, man. Let's do it.
Well, they've got partnerships with a whole bunch of different companies, and they're obviously not the Xbox side, but the Microsoft side, especially the, what's it called? The business side? You know the word for it.
Yep. Like the server side and...
The enterprise side.
Yeah.
They are working with companies to develop mixed reality stuff. You see it in the adverts for mixed reality, even though we can't actually use any of it yet.
Yep.
You know that Microsoft is developing that kind of stuff, but they They're not producing hardware themselves. They're kind of making the smart bet here and just being like, we'll work with you three companies and we'll have good relations with this company.
Yeah.
And then on the off chance one of them blows up and nails it, then we can go, we love your work. We've had a successful relationship for 10 years now. You want to work with us and we'll start putting your headset in our boxes as well?
Yep.
Like, they've done the really clever thing. The amount of R&D they've got invested in it is minimal compared to the other companies who are huge in VR. Like, as much as PSVR seems to be doing really well for Sony, I don't think they're selling that well enough to have made up for the R&D costs of that headset.
And I think when you look at Microsoft for E3, I don't know if that's really the right place to launch VR for them. I feel like they would rather have like a fall event where they launch VR and say, hey, it's available in stores in a month. Because what they need to focus on E3 for the core audience and for the larger, nightly news audience is, hey, we're going to sit down, we're going to shut up. Here's a bunch of trailers for a bunch of games that are coming out this year and before March 2019. This E3 is about the games. Like, we've got the hardware done. The Scorpio is now out. Xbox X is probably in your home, and that's done. So let's just show games, not another piece of hardware.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people making fun of Microsoft for that ill-fated press conference where they announced Crackdown 3 and all the other games, and it's like, oh, look at all these games that didn't come out, and, the ones that have been cancelled or changed. It's like, get over it. That's business.
Game development's hard, man. So Crackdown 3 has taken 4 years. Okay.
Sorry, how long did Shenmue 2 take? How long did how long did any of the Gran Turismos take? Considering Forza released 4 games in the amount of time it took them to make one.
How long does it take a Grand Theft Auto game to come out? Like, it's just...
At the end of the day, I'm looking forward to Microsoft because, to be honest, that's the press conference that I don't know what they're going to do.
Yep.
I don't know what they've got hidden in the back pocket. I don't know what games they've got to announce.
It's their show to lose. Like, they could come out being like, cool. Like, even I could be coming out saying, like, I'm glad I have an Xbox One because there are these laundry list of cool things to see.
I mean, when I sit here and I think about the press conferences, I think, okay, so Nintendo, we're going to see Metroid. Probably not anything decent, but we're going to see Metroid. We'll see the new Smash or the old Smash because they still haven't
whatever it is.
Which one it is.
Yeah.
We'll see,
we'll see Labo.
Yeah, we'll see Labo. Sony, okay. Days Gone.
Yep. Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider, Shenmue. Yep. Final Fantasy, 7 remake.
Final Fantasy 7, probably.
Probably Death Stranded.
Yeah.
And what else? Like,
a bunch of stuff that they'll also announce.
Exactly, but and probably a Dream thing from the
Dreams.
Company.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good press conference. It's so predictable is the problem I've got with it. I know what I'm going to see there, and I'll probably be excited about some of the stuff there, but honestly, Microsoft is mind-blowing to me because either they're going to have an incredible show or a really, really bad one.
Yeah, they're not just going to have an okay show.
Yeah, and that kind of makes me excited. It's like, okay, even if they have a really bad show, fair enough, everybody has bad shows, but it's the possibility of them having an incredible show that kind of makes me excited. Because whether we like it or not, E3s for the past 5 years have all become so predictable because everything gets leaked so far in advance.
Death2K asks in chat, any cheaper hardware this E3? I don't think anyone announces a price drop. I think the prices for everything is fine, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they drop the X's price. And it's the one thing we can probably say Microsoft will definitely show will be the Elite Point 2. Whatever the controller is.
That's true.
So I'm probably going to drop $300.
Yeah, either they'll show it or they'll make some sort of offhand comment about how the Elite is good enough for everybody, and it's still on sale. There isn't another one coming. Yeah, I feel like this isn't the year. I feel like this really isn't the year to drop the prices. If they do that, that might be later this year. but I feel like a price drop, unless it's $100 or more, that's not really a big thing at E3 anymore. It's just like, here's game trailers, games.
Well, I mean, the S has got to be cheap enough at this point because it's already getting the Xbox S.
Yep,
is already cheap enough right now. So if they can drop that, and even because they go first, I know Sony will probably poised to take advantage of it. But if Microsoft can take the X down to the Pro price, then you're talking about people being in trouble. It's top of the line. Last year when it came out, it still is top of the line for a console box. My PC is not as powerful as my Xbox, and I spent less money on my Xbox than I did on my PC.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, if Microsoft can drop that price, sneak it close to that Pro price, that kind of then puts more pressure on Sony.
Yeah, Sony starts sweating.
Yeah, because then it's like, okay, they've got categorically they have the most powerful console.
Yeah.
And it's the same price as our Pro. What can we do about it?
Yeah. E3, I'm always excited for E3, but I feel like after 2017 had a lot of great games in it, E3 2018 is going to be interesting for sort of what comes next, and then what can I look forward to in 2019.
Yeah. Give me below. Just give me...
They keep saying it's coming this year. I know. So excited.
I will believe it when I see it installed.
Yep. Death2K in Discord asks, given the projected success of God of War's new format, bad father figure leading/protecting the young, similar to Last of Us, do you think this will be a new genre? Will we get a Lara Croft protecting her child one day? Also, if you had to pick a parent figure from a video game, who would it be and why? Sorry for length, and thanks for weekly podcast and entertainment. I feel like dad games are becoming a thing.
Because everybody who's our age are all dads now.
Yeah, and they're making games, or they're like 10 to 20 years older than us, and they're missing their young children.
Yeah, because, hey, guess what? Making games is hard.
Yeah.
I think it's that, I mean, specifically that storytelling, I think that's just an aspect of the industry growing up. And I don't mean the storytelling maturing and all that, even though it has been. I'm talking about like the people in the industry.
Yeah, they're just aging.
Yeah, and the customers of the industry are aging.
Yep.
Like, the reason video games are such a big business today is because all of us idiots who couldn't afford games when we were kids, we now have that disposable income. I do not go out and party and drink. I play video games.
Yeah.
I'm sure the same could be said for Boston and countless other people in our community are people who, they're not interested in going out and getting smashed and having a fight and, you know, all this other kind of stuff. Their entertainment is chatting with their friends online and playing video games together.
Desperately trying to catch up on 2017's greatest video games.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
For people with not enough time.
Yeah, like Mina says, drink at home with games. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. That's what T-Bomb does every single Friday. When I join in their party, I'm surrounded by 4 drunk dudes.
Yeah.
All slamming down whiskeys and enjoying slashing monsters.
Decompressing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think that is the age of the industry sort of showing. And I think it's good. I know there's been some side eye with God of War getting such great reviews that people might be sick of dad games, but
I love dad games.
Well, and I feel like, you know, you look at Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's like a main character who is independent and strong-willed and cool, and it's not really a dad game. And if I have to get a dad game to get more single-player games, then that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I just want more single-player games. Although Yakuza 6 is also a dad game because he's taking care of a kid. But
I'm sure we'll also see a bunch more mom games when the women's revolution continues and grows more and more strong, and you get more lead women in teams.
Less video game developers and publishers, the less that they are gross towards women that want to work for them.
Yes.
I think we will continue to get better stuff.
Yeah, I think we've seen some of the best writing, some of the best performances have been done by women. Give me a AAA game with that kind of thing behind it. And I know the lady who left the Uncharted series and then moved to
Amy
EA.
Hennig.
Yes.
Yep.
She's widely regarded in that aspect. But I think we'll see more of that when we see more of those type of games, like those developments. Like, I'll be honest, I don't think I could have ever seen a guy produce what's it called? It's the game about the young girl who's blind.
Unfinished Swan?
No, that's related to Edith Finch. That one. It's what. I don't know. Beyond Eyes. There we go.
There you go.
I don't think I could have ever seen a guy produce that.
Yeah.
And it has a very distinctly feminine touch, and I actually kind of love the way that game looks.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to more of that in the AAA things. Less shooting and blowing up of everything and more story-based games I would appreciate and love so much more.
Yep. And our last question here from Discord is from Maximus Prime. So Sea of Thieves isn't looking to be the needed IP Microsoft was trying to sell it as. Sure, it's sold well, but its popularity seems to be waning fast. My question is, do you think Microsoft has some new IPs up their sleeve? Or they're going to continue down this path of poor exclusives compared to PlayStation? I feel like this sort of wraps in our E3 stuff where it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to find out. And I hope they do, because I don't... Yeah. We've talked about it a lot on the show, especially recently with stuff like Nier and Horizon and God of War, that exclusives suck for everybody involved except for the publisher of the game, and it would be great if God of War came out on PC and Xbox One day and date and it worked.
Yeah.
And everybody wins. Like the only people that lose with console exclusives are people that don't have the console, don't have one of the 3 consoles.
Yep.
I think there's something to be said for something like Golf Story, where it's like, hey, this game was made by a person, so focusing on one platform over 4 of them is understandable, but someone like Sony can probably get the necessary stuff and team together to put God of War on at least PC.
They won't even let people, they won't even let Microsoft talk and play games with people on their platform, so it ain't gonna happen. I mean, they need it. Microsoft 100% needs it. They need to be honest, they need to slap out that fat wallet and then just drop it on the company and be like, there you go.
Yep.
Enjoy this, $200 million cash influx. Make me games. Make them new.
We're going to send you some Xbox engineers. Go crazy.
Mm-hmm. They need to do it, but they need to make the right decisions. I was hyped about Scalebound.
Yeah, me too.
I think the biggest problem they had there, they picked a developer who, rightly or wrongly, that Platinum were working on 4 games at once, and they're not a big studio.
No, they got in some real trouble there.
And you look at the Telltale games as well, something similar for them. That was a small studio that took on way too much work and now had to shrink that back down because of the same situation. It's get out there, Microsoft. I don't even care if stuff doesn't get announced this year. Just get those new IPs. I'm fed up of sequels. I want new IPs.
Yeah. Sunset Overdrive. That's a must-play game on Xbox One, and it's...
I think the problem with that is it's forgotten so much. Nobody takes it seriously as a console exclusive. Nobody thinks to themselves, that's really great, despite the fact that everybody said it was great.
Yeah. It got forgotten almost immediately for some reason.
Yep.
I don't know why. But yeah, E3's the place to watch. I feel like Microsoft has that, and then... Boy, do they still do that Xbox event in fall anymore? I feel like they do, but it's pretty small.
I think they definitely do one, but I think it's dependent on the year. It depends on the amount of effort they put into it.
Yeah. Last year was all about, hey, it's the Xbox One X. Come see some 4K stuff.
Yeah. And this year they've got that whole thing going on where they're like, we out of the actual E3 itself. It's like, there you go, have a mixer stage.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah.
That'll
We're
be
just going to
interesting.
go over here in a building by ourselves.
Yeah. Actually, that's our episode. We've been recording forever. Wow.
Yes. Technical difficulties.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Links to everything is on the right-hand side of the page, including the Discord server. Go check that out. It's always hopping. As I mentioned at the top of the show, this month's Game Club game is The Swapper. We'll be recording the recap episode on Saturday, and we will be then talking about whatever game is up next. The random number selector has not yet picked it.
May the gods be good.
I gotta get on that. And watch us, subscribe to us, all that stuff on Twitch, Mixer, Smashcast, YouTube, everywhere. Make sure you... What's that?
Patronus.
Yeah, don't forget Patreon, patreon.com/E1M1. Get some cool behind-the-scenes stuff. Old Dog New Flicks, a dynamic soundtrack, Outcasts, a whole bunch of other stuff. All that stuff. $5 slot. That's the sweet spot. And I think that's it. So we'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Let me look here. Someone just wrote, who was this? Mina wrote down a bunch of titles that I think I have. Yeah, I've got most of those. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching this. Already dipping out. Bye. Alright, what titles do you have?
Okay. I've been squirreling them away. Put that Jennifer Lawrence gif in there right now. It's a bit long, but I thought it was good. And that number is infinity.
Oh, nice.
Is this another platinum I'm smelling? Fighting Gundams and the truth will out.
The truth will out. And is that another platinum I'm smelling? Another... Whoop. Plat. I'm smelling. I have the 3 J's, which isn't as good as the final J. The jambalaya of video games. Knockoff Killers. Paul Friars. And then that number's infinity, the truth will out, and is that another platinum I'm smelling? I like...
Paul. Go ahead.
Final J, Jambalaya video games, or I kind of like Paul Friars.
Yeah, Paul Friars is kind of great.
What's this? We're going to make our Saturday the 14th movie starring Paul Friars.
Exists. We're going to have to go with Sunday the 15th.
Oh, there's already a Saturday the 14th, right?
Yep.
2 days later, Paul Friars.
Well, you know, he's the cousin. He gets the news really slowly.
That's right. Yeah, he lives out in the country. You know, what else are you going to do? I kind of like Paul Friars because it's real dumb.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to circle it. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 547 for April 16th, 2018. Paul Friars.
Cousin by mother's sister.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, hanging out, chatting with us, as always. Had a bunch of you peeps and someone who's related to Moon Pier hanging out with us this week.
Yep.
I hope we see you all next week. And if you're a patron, I'll see you tonight for Hanging with Mr. Boston. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, we can stop recording.